to be honest, don't really know what I'm doing.
He was often a player that I would buy on Football Manager.
It's already a terrible reason.
From Jon Snow, Matt puts Dan's wardrobe to shame.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Look at him, the cat that got the cream.
Ian Taylor said it was the worst thing he'd ever seen in his life. Monk really is, I know he's manager. What kind of say is that?
Gary Monk, 5 out of 10.
I haven't finished yet. I cannot believe Gabby Abonda.
That's crazy,
That's
isn't
terrible.
it?
Yeah, we may well have lost listeners early doors again with a long-winded intro. Go, shoot.
Hello and welcome to the Villa View podcast. It's a brand new strike force this week. Tom Julian, I get to introduce myself for once, which is quite nice. Sitting alongside Chris Dolan. Chris, how are you doing?
Thanks for having me back. Yeah, very good. Very good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, man. It's a pleasure to sit here with you.
First, it's our debut.
Exactly. We've
together.
We've hung out a couple of times, me and Chris. We've talked a lot of Villa, but we've never sat in this beautiful booth before. Dan is enjoying the delights of Centre Parks. Yeah, very relaxing, very peaceful. He's probably strolling round a lake or something, listening to this podcast and wishing he was here. Probably.
I would say you're right.
He, I mean, there's no doubt about it. He would have loved the result on Saturday. Those of you that were at the game may well have gone and seen him at fan cams. Villa View fan cams and post-match reaction is on YouTube at the moment, so go and check that out. But it was a great win. 3-1, Villa Park. Barnsley they couldn't cope with this.
For those who have been crying out for entertainment, certainly it was there in absolute abundance. Yeah, I mean, I think even whenever we went 2-0 up after 7 minutes, there was people saying, "Oh no, could this be Sheffield's United all over again, Mark II?" It nearly was whenever they scored from that set piece, but for me it was game over. It was game over after Horan scored the third, and yes, they had chances, but then again so did we. But that first half we absolutely blew them away. Yeah,
it was so nice to see Villa get out of the blocks so quickly and just take the game to Barnsley, wasn't it? It was our home game. You know, they came on our turf, but you could see that Villa had they're still set out to attack from minute one.
There's just a good atmosphere. There's a good feeling. And I imagine as a player, when there's a good feeling in the stands, that's going to come down onto the pitch. As the old cliche says, you know, the players need to give the fans something to shout about, and they certainly have been. And I think there's been just been a nice chemistry. Well, that's not too cheesy. There's been a nice chemistry between the fan and the player.
Yeah, and it's times where we haven't seen that earlier on in the season when we started, obviously so lethargically. Yeah. And you could tell that people weren't particularly happy with Bruce or with the players or both. But you know, four league wins on the bounce now, and pushing for fourth. It's a happy place to be for Villa fans.
Yeah, I mean, listen. We're only a week away from a crisis, apparently. It can all change. It can all change in the next game away at Bramall Lane. But you just got to enjoy the ride. We were talking before. You just got to enjoy it and go with the flow. It's the championship. It's full of ups and downs. We're going to win more games than not, which is certainly a positive thing. But I'm just really enjoying it at the minute. It's nice to wake up on a Saturday and really look forward to 3 points or to a good performance. And on Saturday was certainly no different.
Yeah, well, we won't talk about it for too long because there's a video up. So if you do want to go and check that out, Rolo and Dan talk about the win. But we've got to talk about Chris Dolan, Scott Hogan. Goodness me. 2 goals, that's 4 in 3 now for the guy, and we talked about it last week, Dan and I, about if you feed him in that kind of 6-yard box area, he's going to get that goals, and we saw it twice, you know, one from a corner as well.
Like, he's a really good header of the ball for such a small guy. Yeah. His leap, you know, you look at the Forest goal, you look at the goal at the weekend. You know, he's in there. He's not the kind of player you would think would score with his head. But he seems to be able to get all kinds of goals, tap-ins, lovely little deft finish for the first goal, and I mean, it's all coming right at the right time as well. At the right time, such a crucial time for him, you know, and it feels like, you know, we're in January, people crying out for some signings. But I think if you spoke to Villa fans, and we'll get on the transfers later on the show, but he feels like a new signing, and especially having him and Grealish at this stage of the season is is a wonderful thing.
They're a perfect complement, aren't they? Because you've got that striker in Hogan who's kind of sniffing around. He's getting the give me goals, I think Michael Owen used to call them, where he's just getting into that right place. It's just a nick past the keeper, and I think for the second goal, the keeper was in no man's land for that header. But you've got to be in the right place, and he could have had a hat trick as well. The way he just deftly kind of flicked it onto the post, it was a beautiful touch, and he deserved more from it.
I mean, thinking back over the years, have we ever had a striker like Scott Hogan? That kind of little whippet, that little sort of poacher.
It doesn't feel like it, does it?
I can't think. I mean, well, we would have had McCormack if things had gone to plan, but apart from that, I can't think of anybody over the years. We've always gone for the kind of big man up top. So Andy Vyman to a point was a bit like that, but he was never as quite as prolific as Hogan can be.
Vyman used to drift out a bit more, didn't he, and pick the ball up and kind of run with it.
Forged a really nice relationship, but thinking back, I don't know. And again, it'd be nice to hear what some Villa fans, if they can think of any strikers over the years that resemble Hogan, because I can't.
Yeah, I love the way.
So it's a first for me as a Villa fan watching someone like him play up top. It's great.
I love the way he just kind of stays in the box, kind of just waiting around for it, and then but you've got those options. You've got Albert Adoma, you've got Robert Snodgrass, you've got Hourihan and Grealish obviously in the middle who are interchanging as well, and they're the guys that are doing the work, feeding him. And I feel like we said it for a long time that you feed Hogan and he's going to get those goals.
His confidence as well, and the team. The team are. Looks like to me they're absolutely full of confidence at the minute, and every time we go forward, it looks like we're going to create something, whether it be a great save from the keeper or we're going to score.
Yeah.
Our conversion against Bristol was I think we had like 6 or 7 shots on target, scored 5 goals.
Yeah.
So if you carry on with that kind of conversion rate, then you're going to win more games than not.
Yeah, well, if you look at the other end, Barnsley, I think, had 22 shots or something registered, and they had
two on target or
something like that. It's not good enough. But we've talked about him a little bit, Jack Grealish, and his relationship with Conor Hourihan. That's just coming. It's becoming more and more just fluid, isn't it? They react so well to each other. They know where each other are, as it resulted in the goal.
Yeah, I mean, you think with their physique, and I know, Hourihan's not the kind of he's not the broadest, he isn't the most physical player.
Yeah.
Neither was Jack, but looking at his build, his physique now, he looks like he can shrug a few players off. I just think for us to be really successful going forward, we need that anchor man in the middle. We need that DM to sweep it up. Unfortunately, Williams come in for a lot of stick. Jednak's not as fit as we'd like him to be, and I think obviously with Bjarnason now kind of coming in, he's really made that position his own.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is another little find, playing him in the second half against Forest, then gives Hourihan that license to link up with Grealish. And when you got like Grealish, Hourihan, Snodgrass, Adoma, and Hogan, it's frightening. It is frightening.
Again, there's been podcasts where we've come in and it's been really dour and you just don't see the answer. And there are podcasts like this one where you're looking at it and it's the team picks itself, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it's young, it's fast, it's playing attractive football.
Yep.
And we had a question come in on Twitter. Thank you for your questions. We're going to get to those. Yep. And it was just like, who do you pick for the Sheffield United game?
Picks itself. Bar injuries, it picks itself.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we spoke when I was in before with Dan. We spoke pre-Forest about John Terry and dropping Tommy Elphick.
Mm-hmm.
John Terry's an exception. I didn't think he would start Terry, but he did. Terry's an exception because of who he is. He's the club captain, the most decorated player to ever play for Aston Villa. So he's the exception. But apart from that, somebody mentioned about Kodja. Would you put Kodja into the team? Nope. Nope. That team at the minute picks itself.
How influential do you think someone like John Terry is when he comes in? He just breathes confidence.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I like most fans, I kind of like to look at other player reactions whenever we score a goal. For Hogan's first, I noticed it at the weekend. There's an angle from the north stand, I believe, showing facing into the Holt end. And when you see Hogan score, you can see Terry just at the bottom of your screen, and he really pumps his fists. And for a guy at that stage of his career, doesn't have to be playing for Villa against Barnsley on a Saturday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Real scrap. You know, real slog. And it really means something to him, and it's so refreshing to see. You know, and we've cried out about in the past about our squad and our team lacking that unity and that togetherness. This squad, I mean, Dan spoke about it as well. Like, it really just, it exudes togetherness and a real spirit, and it's just so refreshing.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong, Mr. Dolan. So it's 4 wins on the bounce now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put you on the spot. What do you put that down to? If you could pick one single factor, what do you think that factor is for this kind of new confidence, the winning run?
Well, there's a few things. Hogan scoring goals. But then he comes out and says about Agnew being so influential. So you've got Steve Agnew, you've got the fact we've got Jack Grealish back. I mean, didn't Bruce say at the start of the season he would build the team around Grealish?
Yeah.
And he's starting now. Obviously, he was out for the best part of six months.
Yeah.
He's got back to full fitness a lot quicker than I thought he would.
Yeah.
His last 3 games have been 8 and 9 out of 10s all day long. So you've got the fact that Grealish is back. You've got for the first time, I think we had a 22-man squad trained on Friday.
Right.
The spine of the team's back, and it's confidence. Confidence is the key. You know, you win one game, you win the second game, and you just have to keep on building and building and building. And at the minute, it looks like we're hitting top form just at the right time. I watched last week. I think it was the EFL show, I think, and somebody said that that Villa haven't used anywhere near the amount of quality that they possess this season so far. Cardiff are playing to their maximum. Bristol have been playing to their maximum. Derby have been playing. Wolves are kind of on their own, but we're starting now. There's a lot more for us to offer, and touch wood, fingers crossed. You know what I mean? All of the cliches. We can kick on.
I feel like if I was about to ask you how many points we were going to get in February, you'd be like maximum points once again.
Yeah. Listen, we're going to win some, we're going to lose some. You know, my cry to the Villa fans is just enjoy it.
Yeah.
And relax, and go with the flow.
Well, I said to you on the train as we were coming in, didn't I? I was like, I don't know if Villa fans are enjoying this as much as they should be. Like, we've, as a fan base, I'm not picking anyone individually, not me, not you, not Dan or anybody, but as a fan base, we seem to have been obsessed by whether Steve Bruce is going to stay or not. And even now, you still get the questions about whether he's going to stay, even if we go up and that kind of thing. It just seems a bit mad. I feel like we should just kind of take a step back, go, do you know what? We're 4th place, we're competing for 2nd, and we're right in that mix because we've got a good team, we've got a good squad and a good camaraderie at the moment, and we should enjoy this because it's a good place to be.
I agree. There's literally nothing I can add to that. you've literally you hit the nail on the head. Like, that's exactly it.
Well, let's see if it continues. Oh, I did want to get to this question before we moved on. This is from Joe Baker. Chris, if Grealish had been fit all season, would we be this far behind Wolves? What do you reckon about that?
Ifs and buts, hindsight.
Yeah. I would say no. And the reason why I think this is because Bruce always said that he wanted to play with Grealish and make Grealish build the team around Grealish, right? And if Grealish, I'm going to contradict myself in a minute, but if Grealish had played the way that he's been playing the last 4 or 5 games, you know, he's unstoppable, he's unplayable, he's dancing around players, people are dipping their toes into the game, but they can't get the ball off him. Having said that, I have also maintained that I think Grealish, actually, the time off where he had to reflect on his injury might have been really good for him, because he was kind of going through a bit of a soft patch before he got injured, and now it feels like he's stepped his game up again.
Yeah, well, there's a chap, I believe, called Ollie Stevenson, who I think is the strength and conditioning coach.
Right, yep.
I'm just reading from what Bruce has been saying in the press that he's been working with him day in, day out. Bruce said that after the Borough game, I think it was, or after the Forest game, that Jack's becoming a man.
I see it.
You know, his physique, his build, He's a joy to watch. You know, he's the kind of player that you pay to watch.
Yeah.
You know, he has that swagger, that elegance about him. He drifts in and out. But what I love about Grealish is he always waits until the very, very last second and then just delivers the ball. You know, we were talking about for Hurahan's goal, the way he just sort of, he knows that if anybody goes near him, he's going down.
Yeah.
So he attracts players to him, and then you see just that run from Hurahan. He drifts on the outside and slots in a lovely finish. But he's got to be a defender's nightmare.
Yeah.
And you know, we're full of pace and we're full of trickery, and you know, Snodgrass mightn't be the quickest, but those balls he whips in are just as dangerous as pace.
Yeah.
So it's really entertaining.
Happy days.
At the minute, yeah.
Happy days at the moment. So
but it can all change.
Of course it can, and
It
we've seen it happen in the Championship, Chris. It's a minefield, isn't it? Of quality teams all competing hard. It's a long slog division.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to be there. You've got to be there from day one to game 46 or whatever it is, and you know, there's going to be times where you lose games, and other teams are going to lose games as well. We're looking at the table now, and you've got Derby who are on 53 points in second, Villa are only 3 points behind them, Cardiff 1 point ahead of Villa in third, and then Bristol City and Sheffield United 2 and 4 points behind Villa respectively.
Us and Fulham are the two informed teams.
Yeah, well, Fulham won 6-0, didn't they, at the weekend?
Yeah. I mean, they're starting to kind of come into their own. Who do you think? Do you think there'll be a surprise? Surprise package
to kind of fly up the table.
Yeah, to that playoff spot.
It feels like you look at Leeds in 10th, who are the last remaining team, which I really look at and go, I could see them making a bit of a push. I think
Leeds are doing a Leeds, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. But who knows with the new coaching setup there? They've got you've got Middlesbrough as well, who've just brought in Pulis. I don't know whether he's going to have enough. I mean, they're only 2 points out of the playoff picture.
They've all got enough.
Exactly. So it's about one, keeping your players fit. Yeah. I think that's really, really important, as we saw in December. I think it's about, like we've talked about before, that Villa have got at the moment. They've got that camaraderie, that enthusiasm, and the confidence.
Yeah.
So we shall see about that. But
just on that, Brentford have been going about their business very nicely.
Yeah.
Nobody's really spoke about them.
They've dropped 3 points in the last 15. So 12 points out of their last 15. They've won, if you can do the maths there.
They're a very tricky side. We tend to struggle against the kind of trickier teams. You know, the teams that like to play football, like Fulham and Brentford. So it's all to play for, and it's exciting. And yeah.
Well, we've obviously got to go to Fulham next month, so we'll see. And the next game is Sheffield United away as well, which will be a tricky tie for Villa. But in the meantime, we've got 8 days off, I think. Quite a nice little break. And Steve Bruce said to the media that he's given the players the days off.
They're all in the sunshine.
Yeah. Where would you go off if you had 4 or 5 days off right now? Where would you shoot off to recuperate?
Where would I shoot off to? Probably somewhere like Tuscany. Suppose you want...
You're so cultured.
You want sun. I don't know if there's much sun in Tuscany at the minute.
No.
What's the forecast like in Tuscany?
I mean, I'm not Michael Fish. I can't pull you out of that one. Yeah, but it's all about sun, isn't it? It's all about...
James, sun in your bones.
James Chester had the flu, didn't he? And a couple of other players, Steve Bruce was saying, even like the team doctor was under the weather. So it's all about kind of getting away from the training ground, just everyone
just needs to, you also need to kind of have a balance. It's like anything in life, these players have a life outside of football. They've got family, they've got kids, and as football fans we tend to forget that. We think that they're just switched on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they need to get away and spend time with their family and spend time with their kids and their missus. So well deserved. Sometimes the best thing for you is just to get away, have a deep breath, relax for a few days, and then back at it. Yeah,
especially when I think it's so busy, kind of over Christmas and January time, where other people are kind of taking their rest. You got people who do normal jobs, by and large, get a little bit more time off over Christmas, and yet as a footballer,
Non-stop.
this is it's going to be in inverted commas. You're working every day. You can't eat what you want, you can't drink what you want, that kind of thing. So obviously they can't do that now, but they do get that little bit of time, just a little bit of leeway away from the media, away from the stresses of every day, and I think that'll do them power of good.
Yeah, I agree.
And it goes back again to Steve Bruce's kind of nous in this part of the season. He's done it before. He's got teams up. He knows when players need a rest.
I mean, we spoke about it. You know, from what I gather, his man management skills are second to none.
Yeah.
He's been around the best part of 40 years in the game,
yeah.
From playing to managing. Out of all the coaches and managers in the top 6 at the minute, this is a little question for you on the spot.
Oh goodness!
Do we know, out of the managers in the top 6 teams, have any of them been promoted before?
Warnock.
Yeah. I'm listening.
Warnock. Who's at Derby?
Riot hasn't.
No. Is that it?
Bruce has. Riot hasn't.
Wilder hasn't.
Wilder hasn't. Who's in charge at
Bristol City?
Bristol City. Gary Johnson.
I don't think so.
No. So
Yeah.
If
It's a good point.
fans bang on about Steve Bruce out and Steve Bruce this, Steve Bruce that. Is there any? There's no other manager I'd want at this stage in our position than Steve Bruce.
Yep.
Case closed.
Done.
Case closed.
So that's it. You're not allowed to
No more Bruce out.
ever criticise Steve Bruce again until it falls apart. If it does,
I'm sure someone's going to dig out some tweet that I tweeted about like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
I mean.
Or a tweet which says, "Oh yeah, actually, all of these managers have got teams up, and then we're out of a job." Let's talk a little bit about Keith Wyness, the Aston Villa CEO,
Yeah.
who was on BBC West Midlands,
Yeah.
answering fans' questions, which I think is brilliant actually.
Yeah.
He's obviously asked on Twitter.
He's and that's also the real positive about this regime is that they're very, very much they're all about the fans.
Yeah.
They listen. I mean, some of Tony's tweets that he's done, and the fact that he's brought some fans up, and one kid had his jersey stolen or something, and Tony ended up bringing him up to the box, and he got him a signed jersey, and it's just really, really impressive, Yeah. And for Keith, it's the second time he did it last year. He's done it again this year.
Yep.
By and large, the calls were all really positive. I think we also forget. Could you imagine walking into that club after the mess it was in?
Yeah.
After what someone like Tom Fox had left that club in?
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to just change overnight? It's not possible. Like, do you imagine the mess it was in?
Yeah. You're totally right. It takes a while to kind of clear out all the debris, the dead wood.
Yeah. There was a stat we had. In the old regime, there was like 55 years worth of contracts in that squad that went down.
That's crazy.
It was something really obscene. I mean, quote me if I'm wrong, but it was a really, really crazy figure of contracts, combined contracts within that squad. Somebody spoke to Keith about Richards and Gabby. What can you do?
Yeah.
What can you do with somebody on 55, 60 grand a week? Both of them are on that kind of wage.
I was gonna raise that point actually because I heard that one and it was like, what are you going to do with these players? And he was like, well somebody's got to be interested in them for us to get rid of them. And obviously, Gabby Agbonlaho's contract is up for renewal at the end of the season. To me, it didn't sound like it's going to be renewed.
Oh, of course it's not. No. And unfortunately with Gabby, yeah, what do you say about Gabby? I mean,
you say thank you for the years that you
thanks for the memories.
Yeah, and he hasn't done it the last few years, and that's football. It's a do it for me now kind of game, and Gabby's not the player that he once was, and you say thank you for doing it, and good luck, and hopefully you find a new club and have a bit of a sponsor.
And maybe on down the line, you can come back in as a coach in some shape
if he wants to. Yeah.
So let's hope we see him back.
Did you hear the bit about Van Persie?
Yeah,
being linked with Villa. That's a strange one, right?
Strange one. Not for me.
So if you haven't heard it, Keith Wyness on BBC West Midlands, he said that Van Persie was almost a target, which essentially means nothing. No. Not even a target at this point. When he was at Fenerbahce, he's obviously at Feyenoord now. Wyness and Bruce decided together that Van Persie wasn't the right kind of player for us. I actually wonder if he would have fit into the system that we're kind of playing now as a kind of out-and-out front man. He obviously has the quality, there's no doubt about that, whether he has the legs or the kind of...
he just would have been another 65, 70 grand a week player that we just don't need.
A luxury.
Just don't need it. We don't need luxuries at this stage. We need grafters.
Yeah.
We need people who've been there and done it. So I'm glad that didn't come off.
Yeah.
Listen, great PR and all that.
Yeah.
But no, not for me.
He also talked about Winus. He talked about the lack of activity that's likely to not happen in this transfer window. He said that there's not going to be much movement, and I don't think many Villa fans were expecting us to really to go crazy in this window. Obviously, Chris, is there any position that you'd see that we need to fill?
At the minute, as we said, the team picture itself, it's just kind of bodies we need. We need a bit more depth, especially in that defensive midfield role. As much as I love and respect what Glenn Whelan's done, both him and Jednak, the Championship is a lot faster and a lot pacier and a lot more competitive than I think Bruce thought at the start of the season. I don't think he'd quite think it was going to be that intense.
Yeah.
We need legs.
Do you not think Bjarnason has found
I do,
himself
but we need someone else almost to back up Bjarnason.
Okay, that's
if
interesting.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's talk of this lad
Tuanzebe,
Axel
Tuanzebe from Manchester United. Yeah,
gets rave reviews. Can
right.
play as a centre back, and as a defensive midfielder.
Yeah. That'll be a loan move.
That'll be a loan move, and then you look at up front. You look at. I mean, we've only really got 2 fit strikers at the club.
Yeah.
Hepburn Murphy is still very much finding his feet. Injuries seem to be sort of plaguing him week in, week out. Keenan Davis is just being kept out of the team at the minute. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And he could probably do with a break as well. He's had a very intense 6-7 months. He was a very fortunate accident, wasn't he, Keenan Davis?
Do you know what he was? And we'll come on to that. There's a question that we'll get to in Twitter. But actually, I think him being forced out of the team by Hogan and Hogan scoring 4 in 3, like you said, I think it's really good for him. 1, because he needs a rest, but 2, he's not been forced out of the team just because he can't score, and then Hogan's come in and can't score either. He's now been kept out of the team because Hogan is in such good form.
Yeah.
And Davis is going to look at that and go, okay, this isn't an automatic gig here. Hogan is the real deal, if you like. He is going to be performing in training. They're going to be competing in training. I hope they're mates as well, but they're going to be fighting each other.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, really healthy for the two of them. Having said that, I really believe that we need some cover. I've been on this train. I think a few people think that might rock the boat, but as professional footballers, I think if you have only got 2 strikers, you should be expecting somebody to be coming in as well.
I think so.
We need it.
I think so. I mean, the only person we've been linked with as a striker has been Ulloa.
Yeah.
I believe Palace are in for him. I don't know how close that is. I don't know what the latest is on that. But unless we've got something, in the fire, irons in the fire that we don't know about.
Yeah.
Tuanzebe sort of came out of the blue, didn't he? He was sort of appeared out of nowhere. So unless we have something else on the radar like him up front, is yet to be seen. Yeah,
it'd be really interesting to see, because last I read was this afternoon that Daily Express were reporting that
Daily Express
Ulloa has the move is pretty much there with Palace, that is. But you're right, with Tuanzebe, that kind of came out of nowhere. We're also hearing reports of Dean Henderson, the Manchester United keeper. So obviously Bruce has links with Manchester United and with the youth academy there, presumably as well. Dean Henderson seems like a very, very strange one, doesn't it? It's kind of like, if we don't get Johnston...
I think possibly because of Steers' injury.
Right. Oh, okay.
Steers dislocated he's damaged his shoulder. So he's in for an operation this weekend, I believe. So I think with Bunn won't have his contract renewed. I think his contract ends at the end of the season. I can't see Bunn sticking around.
So what? Henderson will come in.
He might see him as a bit of a backup
Right. Okay. That'd be an interesting.
That's all I can think of.
That'd be a weird move for a player, I think, he's playing at Shrewsbury at the moment,
Town, yeah.
and
he's never had a game for United.
Yeah.
20 years old, Stockport, Grimsby, and Shrewsbury.
He's
only played the guts of 40 professional games.
Yeah, he's kept 11 clean sheets this season, which is no mean feat in League One. But
where are Shrewsbury in League One?
They're challenging. Let's say that. I don't know off the top of my head.
Somewhere.
But he was in the England Under-20 World Cup squad. He only played one game for that. But he's. It would seem a strange move for him to kind of accept that he's going to be a backup at Villa. Like, I don't understand why you'd make that switch, particularly as a player, as a 20-year-old player.
I think you look at Bruce and you look at the culture at the club now, and it's all about bringing through young talent. Mm-hmm. Somebody criticised Bruce when speaking to Keith Wyness about Bruce not playing the youth. I think Bruce has been really positive when it comes to playing youth. You look at who he's brought on. I mean, Keenan Davis, he's kind of taken Green to the next level. Harry McCurdy, Callum O'Hare, Jake Doyle-Hayes. You know, he's given these guys game time. Mitch Clark. And I think if it wasn't for Hepburn Murphy's injuries, he would have had a lot more first-team football.
Hepburn Murphy was kind of our main man in pre-season.
He would have been ahead of Davis.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for his injuries.
Yeah.
So I think you know, if you're a young keeper like that, and I think it wasn't Tony Coton, our goalkeeper coach, wasn't he at United as well?
Right. Could be. Yep.
So it's the perfect club for someone of his age to come into and learn their trade, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting one. Again, out of the blue. I can't say I know anything about him to comment really.
Yeah. If we're going to go back to that to Keith Wyness, I think it's an interesting point, because when we were at our kind of injury crisis max, I think there was an argument that we weren't playing particularly well, and why not give Callum O'Hare a go? Why not give Doyle Hayes a go? These kind of players who were scoring for the under-23s or whatever.
Well, they did against Peterborough.
Yeah, well, true.
And look what happened.
True. You can't put them in en masse, but I think there's times where we could have maybe blooded them a little bit more. Do you think?
I think now that the stakes are so high, and when you look about what we're fighting for, is to get back into the Premier League.
But there was a time where we brought on El Mohammadi for like 4 minutes up front or something like that, and you could have chucked one of the youngsters on, something like that.
I get that. I get that. But listen, I'm not a manager.
Yeah.
I haven't had 5 or 6 promotions. So I'm not going to sit here and tell Bruce what he's got to be doing. I know some fans grumble about his lack of activity on the bench. Mm-hmm. Again, we spoke about it with Dan a few weeks ago. Sometimes, as a manager, it only takes one substitution. You know, they come on, they score a goal from a set piece, and everyone looks like, you know, a genius.
Yeah.
I wasn't there on Saturday, but for me, people were saying the subs, it was all a bit too late. Davis needed to come on earlier, but we won the game 3-1. So what's the problem? There was
a comment on fan cams, wasn't it? Was it from Noah who said we were kind of once we were 3-1 up, the second half was a kind of 70%, just kind of see it out. And I mean, Barnsley had their chances for about a 15-minute spell, I think it was, where they kind of put Sam Johnson under pressure, and Sam Johnson again showed why he's class, because he keeps his concentration all the time. But you kind of take the edge off. You're 3-1 up and you're kind of coasting, and that's part of kind of getting through with no injuries and not going crazy, isn't it? A little bit.
Well, Noah said it was like watching the game at Bodymore Heath.
Right.
And if we can play like that and have that, what's the word? Have that kind of, what'd you say?
Comfortability.
Have that factor where we're able to play like that.
Yeah.
Then it bodes well. I've come back there. I'm just trying to think of what he was saying and what
I mean, it's very intimidating being in the studio with me, Chris. I will forgive you that one. Just that one. I think it was Woody Woodward who was who was talking about bringing in a striker or not. So I just wanted to give him credit on Twitter. For me, I think we should. I'm very wary that this squad is good, but a little bit brittle at times. You know, we've got some quality players, but if it only takes a couple of injuries, and then we could be in pieces again. Should we get to some other questions while we're here? Unless you've got something else to raise.
No, all good. I think we've covered it all in our own little way.
Yeah, well, we're getting there, bits and pieces. You can have your say, obviously, in the comments as well. Let us know whether you'd bring in reinforcements or whether you think that upsets the apple cart, as Chris said. Rick Barley Villa on Twitter. Do you guys think that this young lad from Man United will play if he joins us on loan? Personally, I don't want anybody upsetting our current formation or team spirit. The only possible place is the DM. You've kind of touched on that already.
At the minute, like I said, anybody we bring in is really just for depth, for the depth of squad, because it's going to be 17, 18 games left. It's going to be a battle.
Yeah.
People are going to get sent off. There's going to be injuries. So it's just bringing that almost that freshness. You need youth. You need legs in that area of the pitch.
Where do you see Onuma fitting in the next 18 games? Is he kind of?
People have a real love-hate relationship with him.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
It's bizarre.
I think he has shown real flashes of quality, then he's been out of games as well, and people love Grealish as well, and with all. Right, yeah.
I mean, if it's a straight fight between Grealish and Onuma all day long, Jack Grealish. I don't know. Maybe he might be called back. There's talk that Pochettino might call him back. He's certainly going to be a very, very good player. He'll have a good career. He's a really, really talented player. I don't know. When he's played, he's looked all right. Scored a couple of goals.
Yeah.
But we haven't really found his position.
Yeah.
We don't know. Is he a midfielder? Is he a number 10? Is he?
Well, he played more defensively for the England under-20s, and a couple of Villa fans earlier on in the season were saying, why don't we try him there? When we were missing, when Whelan was playing and when Jednak was injured, they were like, why don't we play him there? So, but then Dan was kind of under the impression that he came on loan to play further forward. So I don't know whether.
I think he came on loan because as cover for Grealish.
Yeah.
I think because he's quite versatile. I think he can play that number 10 role. He played that number 10 role against QPR, didn't he, away?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and looked
he
great.
was sensational.
Yeah. Him and Keenan Davis were amazing that day.
So I think if Grealish hadn't been injured, then we wouldn't have seen him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I believe he might be recalled.
Right.
Yeah. There's a really bizarre fans. There's a real love-hate thing there with Onuma.
Yeah.
I'm kind of 50-50 with him.
Yeah. Good squad player at the moment.
Good player. At that level, he's very, very talented. But you kind of want to see your own playing.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. The Holt tweets: Are Chris's hairs on all of his body as fine as his hair? Chris,
I like the way you sort of.
I had to try and rearrange it. It's a family show.
Yeah. It's all very impressive.
Yeah, you're all looking good. What do you think about the old fringe cut? Dan was talking last week about how you specifically go for a fringe cut. Does that take a lot?
See, can I just say about my hair, right? Right, because surely it's the most natural head of hair. It's the way hair is supposed to go. It's just flat and down. Bardell's got this big mad fade thing going on. That's much more technical than mine.
Right.
Even yours is quiffed and all to the side and short on the side. Mine's just a mop. So mine's just kind of as natural as it gets.
That's not true.
Do you agree?
So you wake up and your hair just looks like that?
Pretty much, yeah.
No way.
Yeah. My dad says that I take it off at night and put it on a little head mannequin before bed and comb it.
That's excellent. More hair chat to come. David Hunt. I really like Adoma, but I must admit I would love to see Andre Green with his pace down the left and Grealish.
You have to keep him in.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. Adoma, especially when he was on that run of goals, like he has earned his place.
How many points has he won us single-handedly?
Exactly. He's like the Codger of last year, isn't he?
Phenomenal.
I would love to see Andre Green with the pace down the left, Grealish and Snoddy behind Hogan or Davis. Elmo and Snoddy are superb together down that right-hand side.
Yeah.
We were talking again about Neil Taylor, how he just can't get in at left back.
He can't get in because of the job that Alan Hutton.
Yeah, and then Elmer Hammadi's made right back his own as well.
Hutton's made left back his own. It's
all messed up.
He's the gift that keeps on giving, isn't he?
Yeah.
What a legend.
And yet somebody, I can't remember who it was, put him in their worst ever Villa team last week.
Did they?
Yeah. They were struggling to think of a right back, but Dan went with Habib Bey instead.
Oof, yeah, he was dreadful.
Or Didier Agat was another one.
Oh, yeah, he was Celtic. Was he on loan, wasn't he?
Yeah, I can't remember if he came on permanent or not, but he barely played and probably
Alan
had a few
Hutton, I mean, if there's any number we should retire, or any jersey that should go into the Villa Hall of Fame, it's got to be his.
Maybe we should every
The
season.
man's come back. He's come back from the dead
Yeah.
more times than I can remember. Shipped out on loan 3 or 4 times. Every manager's tried to get rid of him.
Yeah.
And he just keeps coming back. So Alan, if you're watching, mate,
He definitely is.
absolute legend.
There's no doubt about that. Maybe every season we do a Villa View podcast, we can get a new shirt that we retire. Not even if they don't retire, and then just kind of
Just like ice hockey when
Yeah.
they retire the jerseys,
exactly get a wall of them.
get a wall of fame.
That'd be quite a lot of effort after a few years, like bringing them in each week. I don't think the current occupiers of the booth would like that too much, but you know. Villa Mad, who is sitting in the boss's chair tonight, Chris Dolan or you, Tom. I always sit in the boss's chair.
Yeah, but this is also my better side. I was carrying a lot of holiday weight
On one
the
side.
last time I was on here. I looked at it the next day and I went, oof.
It all goes into his right-hand side.
So I've had the shield this side off.
David Hunt with another question. Do you think it's always harder for us and the bigger teams in the Championship to buy Championship players? As we've found, 90% can't handle the pressure and take at least 6 months or longer to adjust. Prime examples, Hourahan and Hogan. What do you make of that question? Bit to unpack there.
Yeah, I get what he's saying. If you look at Hogan's CV, Rochdale and Brentford.
Brentford, yeah.
I mean, hardly big clubs. No disrespect to Brentford and Rochdale fans. I've been at Brentford away, and it's not a pretty sight.
No.
It's not a pretty place. So it must be difficult. But I think they both just came in last year at a time when we were really, really struggling. That was a pretty dark time last season. At this stage last season, we after getting beat by Barnsley 3-1, actually at home, we had Ipswich come and beat us. We had Barnsley come and beat us, and we thought this could be the slippery slide into League One that we all thought might happen. So
Yep.
I just think with Hourahan and Hogan and even Bjornsson, and they've taken a while to settle, but they're certainly the players that we thought we were going to get.
Yeah, and Hogan as well has suffered injuries and a lack of kind of running time in the team.
Don't forget
as well.
that Bruce left Hourahan on the bench the
Yeah.
first game of the season, which
Yeah.
I found very surprising. He favoured Lansbury. Like I say, I think with Bruce, if you play well enough, then you keep the shirt, which is great. So it means if you don't have an 8 out of 10 most weeks, then Bruce tends to.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to have that squad where if you're not playing well, you can be replaced by someone of equal quality.
Exactly.
I definitely agree. Dan Bardell brings the hard question: who do you prefer doing the podcast with? Oh no, it's a tough question. Or is it?
It's your question. Yeah.
It's my question.
Yeah.
No. Who?
Oh, is it my question?
Yeah.
It's my question.
Yeah. For me, there's no doubt, Chris. It's always great working with you, and you're great.
I prefer to do it on my own.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
There you go.
thanks very much.
See you later.
I'm out of here. I only can't leave because they're doing Spanish football next door, so I'm not allowed to leave.
Who's playing?
No idea. I can barely keep up with Villa's fixtures, let alone the Spanish. Linda Pallett says, thoughts on Snodgrass, not just as a footballer, but as a leader. Constantly encouraging and driving the team on, always applauds all sections of the crowd at the end of each match.
He's just a real footballer's footballer, if that makes sense.
I mean, you can go back and listen to the first podcast when we first signed Snodgrass, and I was one of the detractors, and I said,
Really?
yeah, I said,
man.
yeah. Well,
He is
so
quality.
I'm going to eat the crow. I'm going to eat the humble pie, and go. I never said he wasn't quality, but I said the players that we already had, I just didn't really think that we needed him. When we had El Mohammadi, and I thought El Mohammadi was going to play right mid, and then Hutton come in and obviously play right back, and then we got this opportunity to sign Snodgrass, and I was like, that's great, but I would have rather signed a different position at the time. And then there's no doubt that Snodgrass has proved me wrong, because he is so influential.
Yeah, he was the missing piece of the jigsaw for me.
Really?
Yeah, I always saw Elmo as a right back. I don't think he's got I don't think his ball, his final ball into the box is as consistent
Right. Oh,
to
yeah.
play right midfield.
Yeah.
So when he comes up from right back, if he gets 2 or 3 good crosses a game, then as we saw on Saturday, Hogan's first goal, Snodgrass, phenomenal, and just a real good bloke.
Yeah.
You'd love to go for a pint with him, wouldn't you? And just chew the fat.
And he loves playing football. He loves the team that he's in. If the crowd are loving him, I feel like he's one of these real players that if the crowd are behind him, then you can just see him literally elevate as a player.
Yeah.
And he's been phenomenal. And I'm happy to say that it's been a great loan signing.
Oh, he's been, him and Sam Johnson,
Yeah.
absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, no, it's very
Sign them up, Bruce,
very good.
if you can.
Lot-
There's a good one about an indie band, isn't there? Noah?
Oh yes, yeah. Let me try and find that. Have you got that on yours?
Yeah. If you were to pick 4 Aston Villa players to form an indie band, who would it be? And what instruments would they play?
I must admit, I first read this and I was like, if the Villa View was to form an indie band,
The Villa squad.
what
There is only kind of 4 of us anyway, isn't there?
yeah, if you include, well, yeah, but what? Okay, well, let's go with that first. What would you play though? You'd be the front man, presumably.
I'd be a Soda Waters, probably. Yeah, no, I do play and sing myself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've been playing guitar since I was 7.
All right, so you're the front man. I feel like I'm on the drums at the back, just quietly getting things done.
Bardell's playing the tambourine.
Bardell's the kind of eccentric electric guitar guy who, like, he wants everyone to look at him, but actually he's not that important. And Rolinson's there strumming the bass, just making sure everything's fixed.
But with some keyboards as well.
Yeah, that's good. Nice. Yeah. All right, go on then. So
Villa squads.
Let's get on to the actual question.
I think Jackie Grealish, frontman. You know, because he's rock and roll through and through, isn't he? Like?
Right. Yeah.
He is. That haircut, the fact his socks are down, he's rock and roll.
Okay.
Jack Grealish as frontman. James Chester on bass because he's just like Mr. Reliable, like
Right.
keeps the beat. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Keeps that groove. John Terry on lead guitar, just because of his CV and what he's won in the game.
Right.
You know, lead guitarists always have the.
This is
retention.
so your question.
And then I think Conor Horan on drums, just because
Nice.
he just keeps him and Chesney like just consistently 8 out of 10 every week.
I wouldn't mind Samba in there, just like strumming the bass, just
Samba?
just at the back, just going
Big 6-string bass.
Yeah, absolutely loving it. And I think Alan Hutton should be in there just to like bite heads off
Alan
pigeons
Hutton
and stuff.
on backing vocals, BVs.
Yeah, a big deep voice.
Big Al on BVs.
Yeah, nice. I like it. Yeah, every time you hear a random story about Alan Hutton because he's just gone out and gone nuts on the town,
He's brilliant.
and the rest of the band have to rein him back in.
Brilliant.
Scott Ward says, I'm more than a little concerned with how useless Steve Bruce is at substations.
This is what we talked about.
Yeah. He seems to have a plan pre-game and sticks to it. Saturday against Barnsley was crying out for Davis. So, yeah, you mentioned this earlier. I think a fair point, Scott. I think it could have been done earlier, couldn't it? It could have been. You could have made people a little bit fresher.
I mean, if we end up losing the game or drawing the game 3-3, then that's a valid question. But we saw the game out.
Yeah.
And it's, again, this season, there's a phrase I've used quite a lot: is game management. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen a Villa squad that manages the game as well as this current squad?
No, agreed. I agree that we ease off when we need to. Especially at the moment. I don't think it could be said for the whole season, but at the moment, we're playing exactly the way we should be. Villa Mad, is it too late for Jack Grealish to make the England squad for Russia? Personally, I think he's capable.
No.
I think there's 2 questions there. 1, is it too late? Yes.
Yeah.
2, is he capable? Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's going to get a chance.
He's had 3 very good games.
Yeah.
For us, probably had 5 great games in his career.
Mm-hmm.
It's not enough to warrant an England call-up just yet, is it?
No, I agree. We did Joe Baker's earlier. No, as you did earlier. Shazza. Dare we dream plan for the Premiership next year? Who stays, who goes? Likewise, if we're still in the Championship. Winers mentioned on Friday that they were planning for both scenarios, but interested in our views. Such a tough question. I think there's going to be massive changes to this squad.
I really fear. That's where the pressure kicks in for me. I really fear what will happen if we don't go up.
Yeah.
I don't want to be too negative on here, but just with contracts, with big, still got some big money contracts on the in the current squad. I just really fear what'll happen. I think it's do or die for this squad. We have to get up.
Yeah, there's a lot of loan signings as well, which will change things. Like I said, John Terry's on big money. There's James Chess is a Premier League player, and he'll be looking for a move if we don't go up. That kind of thing. So. Yeah, Matt, it's a huge year. I don't think we should think about anything but not going up.
Let's just take each game.
Winus has to prepare for that kind of stuff. As fans, we don't have to do that.
No, we have to just support the lads and get behind them and enjoy it.
I like that. Jack Hurley with a great question. More satisfying to watch this season, Keenan Davis's breakthrough into the first team or Scott Hogan starting to find his form? I'll let you answer first.
For me, Scott Hogan, because we've got a lot more to lose with Scott Hogan than we do Keenan Davis. £12.5 million for Hogan.
Yeah.
When you pay that money, you're paying that money to get results. Davis again, what's a prospect he's going to be? He was a bit of I said before, he was a bit of a happy accident.
Yeah.
But just Hogan, I mean, just to see him come in and to see the way he's been playing, and we all knew it was there. We all knew it was in him. And I think we're finally playing to his strengths. And for me, it's been a breath of fresh air. And even his post-match interviews are brilliant.
That's exactly what I was just going to add. I think
it's refreshing
because I don't think actually everybody did see it was there. I think there was we got a lot of comments on Twitter early about how Hogan wasn't good enough and we should just kind of get rid. But it's his honesty and his refreshing post-match that's really turned people around, and people want him to do well. And I think he's radiating off that. A bit like Snodgrass is. When the crowd gets behind him and the team gets behind him, he's confident.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if I heard the whole thing sing my name, like, you'd walk on water, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, you'd just feel like $1 million. So it's long may it continue.
Yeah, Dave Alford, can we catch Wolves?
We don't know.
I don't think so. You're a little bit more optimistic than me.
We just don't know. It's such a mad league.
Yeah.
What were the odds on Forest going there and winning 2-0 on Saturday?
Yeah.
Coupon buster,
Yeah.
I mean, you just don't know.
Benjamin Minor, we've kind of addressed this. Do you think the squad needs strengthening? I would like to tie up Sam Johnston rather than buy anyone else. I think we need a striker, but I would also very much like Sam Johnston to sign. I think that just about does it for us. Okay, let's finish on this one. Eric Shager, if squad is fully fit, who do you pick for Tuesday on Sheffield against Sheffield United?
Just picks itself.
Picks itself. It certainly
on that note
does.
Thank you very much for having me.
Oh man, it was a pleasure to have you in. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for filling that chair. You've done an admirable job.
Yeah.
And I think in the next couple of months we'll be seeing you a little bit more.
Yeah, I'll be around, I believe. So look forward to it.
Yes, thank you to you guys for joining us. Please send in your comments. Do you think the squad should change? There's room for Yeti, for Whelan. Has Bjarnason done enough to cement his position? Is there any other changes you'd make? Transfer dealings, who's going to come in? We're going to wait and see on that one, but let us know who you'd like to see. Make sure you check out the post-match review that the guys did, and the fan cams as well, which is doing really, really well in terms of views at the moment. And that's about it, isn't it, really? Enjoy the win. We've got an extra weekend off, so make sure you make the most of that. Chris, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very much.
There's only one thing left to say. Up the Villa.
If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.